I have to do this right. If I don't do it right, it's going to be wrong. Hey guys, what's going on? TonyPizzaGuy here, back again. Some of you may not know, my name is Anthony Douglas. I'm just talking as a person here. And I wanted to kind of talk about something that was a subject of back in 2015, the beginning of that. So back in 2015, if you're not familiar, I went on a journey to start a pro wrestling documentary called Marks, It's Still Real to Me. Now that documentary is supposed to be a thing that was going to take years to film. We're going to go to mini events, like 10 to 12 wrestling events. We're going to film stuff with Frank the Clown, some other WWE super fans, and Noelle Foley, and then put this whole documentary as a sort of like a tribute to the professional wrestling fans. What we wanted to do, my honest idea here, was to take the movie Beyond the Mat, take the movie Trekkies, and put those together and to make one big documentary about professional wrestling fans. Because honestly, in my mind, I think that professional wrestling fans are some of the most interesting people. You can gain a friendship with wrestling fans that you know nothing else about, but you can talk about professional wrestling, and it's just one of the greatest joys in the world. And I really do love professional wrestling, whether it's WWE, whether it's independent wrestling, Impact Wrestling, whether it's anything. I love it. It's my passion. It's what I've always been into. And so what I thought I would do is make this documentary. Well, I'm going to be transparent with you guys, and I'm going to be kind of open and honest with what's going on here. So when I started this journey, we tried to start not a Kickstarter, but an Indiegogo. Now we had a huge goal out there of $75,000 to make this documentary. That was the goal here. We were going to do that, and then we were going to hopefully raise those funds. And after raising those funds, we could make this documentary. Well, actually what happened was we didn't really raise any money. We raised $163, and that was not enough. That was not enough to do this documentary. Basically what we were trying to do was have, talent be involved. We were going to have travel expenses. We were going to film all kinds of stuff, and it was going to be one of those things that was going to take a huge journey to do. And that's why I wanted to fund it, because it was going to be an actual movie release. 2015, there was no such thing as Patreon. If there was a Patreon, I think back then we probably would have ran it through Patreon, and that would have been a different story, because with Patreon, you can have that funding coming in all the time, and then that will help the project where you're not trying to raise a one-time capital. You just keep raising it over and over and over, and then that will help fund your project and your future projects. So anyway, with this, I was working with Logan and Jeremy. They were two of my friends, and we were going to make this documentary. We had worked on stuff such as professional wrestling together. I actually ended up running a professional wrestling promotion with Jeremy in Nebraska, and then I ended up meeting my wife, getting married, moving away, having a child. All that stuff took over, so I had to step away from that stuff. Now, since then, I had actually, filmed a ton of stuff. With the Marks documentary in 2015, we filmed a ton of stuff. We filmed stuff from GFW. We filmed stuff from WWE events. We went to multiple WrestleManias to film all this stuff, and that was awesome. One of the things is we have all this footage. All this footage is kept. I have it all on, whether it's a hard drive or whether it's on this computer or whether it's on Dropbox. I have all the footage, and it's just sitting there ready to go. We did try to put a rough cut together and try and make something happen, but for whatever reason, it just felt kind of weird. There was a weird point in our editing process where I don't think everybody was on board with the same kind of process that we wanted to do. I think the process of going about it and getting the editing done and doing it wasn't very well fleshed out. And I'll take some of the brunt on that, because I was not a very good lead on this project. I did not know really what to do with this footage. I did not really know, because we literally have like 3+ years of footage that's just sitting there. You literally have to comb through all this footage and get it edited and make like a story out of this. And that's kind of very, very hard. We have interviews with wrestlers. We have interviews with fans. We have a whole story about Frank the Clown that we filmed with Noelle Foley. Like, there's a big chunk of story on there. So that's kind of where we left the project there. And then again, like I said, I moved away from Nebraska over to Iowa. When I did that, in turn, I met my wonderful wife in Nebraska. We have a beautiful daughter together, and it's just a wonderful experience. I wouldn't trade any of it for anything. But since then, That kind of makes me grow apart from Logan and Jeremy. I don't really talk to Jeremy anymore. Logan, I ended up talking to him, last month to get all the footage together for the Mark stuff and kind of figure out what's going on. So what has happened? What has happened since then, since we filmed that initial stuff, and where are we going in the future? So initially we got all this footage. We got it all recorded. We have it all. I have it all personally. I had spoken with Jeremy and I'd spoken with Logan, and they had actually given me the blessing to do whatever I want with this footage. They had said, I kind of just want to step away from the project. I don't really see this going anywhere. You were the lead of it, Tony, so I'm going to kind of, just give it over to you, and whatever you want to do with it, go for it. That's kind of how their feelings were. So that's kind of where I took it and said, you know what? There is so much great footage here. I can't let it go to waste. What I have decided to do, instead of making a full-blown documentary, can't even speak, a full-blown documentary, I am going to have an ongoing YouTube channel dedicated to Marks. Now, we have 3 years of footage. We have a lot of stuff that we recorded. So a lot of that stuff you'll be seeing pop up on that YouTube channel. On that YouTube channel, we have some stuff that's up there right now. And what I actually did was I actually left up some stuff from the pro wrestling promotion that I ran. Now This Is Wrestling. I ran that with Jeremy for a while. And what I actually did was left that stuff up there. So if you guys want to check out some of those interviews over there. And then we started to put some other stuff up there. Like I put up something with Nick Aldis that we did. It was basically an interview about GFW and where they see the overall landscape of that going. Obviously, that's not a thing anymore, but it's fun to look back on that and see what their original vision was for that. Then I put up a little mini 2-minute highlight of First Wrestling that takes place in Minnesota. It is like Minneapolis' best kept secret, and they have a lot of cool stuff. Eric Cannon was nice enough to let me go and film stuff there. So we actually have that stuff up there as well. Also, we're going to be filming new stuff in aside to that. Tonight, this very night, after I film this, I'm going to be going to Wrestling Revolver. You might know them if you ever go to WrestleMania. They have pancakes and pile drivers. They do that kind of thing. But they run out of Iowa, and they actually do a bunch of cool shows. There's actually Hornswoggle versus Sami Callihan in a death match, as well as a ton of other wrestlers are going to be there. It's a pretty awesome promotion, so I wanted to check that out. And that thing, I'm going to go film. I'm going to see if I can get interviews. I'm going to talk to some of the people. I'm going to try and get everything squared away. And hopefully, if I get all the footage and everything done, I can get it up by Monday during Monday Night Raw. That's my ultimate goal. When it comes to this YouTube channel, I am going to be focusing on a long-term project, short-term projects, and then some mid-term projects. So the long-term goal right now, one of the major projects I'm working on is that Frank the Clown documentary. Now, this isn't just about Frank the Clown and being a fan. This is how he met Noelle Foley and kind of telling his story of how he became a super fan, how he got involved with the world of professional wrestling, and now even he is a professional wrestler. So this story that I went to film in 2015, he was not wrestling at that time. He was just a super fan, and now we got to see him grow and become a big success where he's got his own merchandise. He's selling t-shirts and stuff. He's got a cool outfit if you've ever seen him in professional wrestling. So there's a lot going on there with Frank the Clown, and the story has evolved. So I'm gonna have to actually meet up with him again, which I actually already contacted him and scheduled this to kind of finish his story. Once I get a overall theme and an overall little layout here of where I see the story going, that's what I want to do. Basically, think of this. I want to produce 30-minute biopics that I can release maybe once a month. Maybe longer, maybe not. That might be a long-term project. That might be longer than once a month. I also do want to do some short-term stuff. So some of those interviews that we did with wrestlers, some fans, some stuff like that. And then there'll be some midterm stuff, which will be like the focuses on the wrestling promotion, like the First Wrestling one that I did, and like how I did, I'm going to do the Pro Wrestling Revolver stuff, the Wrestling Revolver. That's kind of the midterm project. So you're not going to see on that YouTube channel, you're not going to see a spam uploads of videos daily that are going to try and pop the search system so that people can know like, okay, this channel is growing like that. Like, it's not going to be one of those things. I'm going to make some really high quality content using footage that I have, recording new footage, and continuing to tell these unique pro wrestling stories. That's the vision that I have for this, is to, instead of make a documentary, we use this footage and we make that 30-minute biopic on Frank the Clown, which I think is one of the most interesting things I've ever filmed in my entire life. Plus, interviews with wrestlers. We have so many wrestlers that we've interviewed and talked to. That's amazing. And then when you think about it, we have just all kinds of new stuff that I want to get, because there's so much going on in professional wrestling now, even with AEW. This is so much stuff that I want to cover and talk about. So anyway, guys, thank you guys for sitting around listening to this. We'll let you know that if you want to check out that channel, and the social media links are in the description, you can definitely go check out that channel. Again, before I launched it, I wanted to have content in the back that you guys can already go look at and see and go, okay, this is kind of what their direction is, because I don't want to start this channel, have no content on it, and be like, I don't know. I don't want to make false promises. That's one of the things that I did with the Marks documentary, where it's like, I have all this footage, but I never did anything with it. So I know there's a lot of people that wanted me to do something with it. So this is what we're doing with it. We're going to put it up on YouTube. We're going to put it on this channel dedicated to itself. And it's not going to be me. I'm not going to be talking like this to you. I'm not going to be the guy that's going to narrate all this. That's not how it's going. The way it's going to work is it's going to be self-contained on its own. So that's how it's going to work. Anyway, guys, if you guys do enjoy this, make sure you check out those channels. Hit that like button over there. Subscribe if you can. And as always, I'm Tony PizzaGuy. We will see you anytime.